this the most brutal crypto market you've ever experienced? Let me know in the comments below. But today is that day. It's Friday. And if you've been around for some time, you know what Friday means. It means that I dollar cost average into the crypto market, and it looks a sea of red. Beautiful for a DCA, in my humble opinion. Look, let's get to it. Let's get down to the desktop and see what's crack-a-lackin'. Let's go. So we're here on CoinMarketCap. The total market cap of crypto globally is down 3.58% at the time of recording and sits at $3.26 trillion. Now, the portfolio is taking an absolute battering. I'm not concerned. I've said this many times. We're going to go through these experiences where the market reverses on us, makes us feel like, we could have, not dollar cost averaged and, bought cheaper. But ultimately, these are opportunities that are presenting themselves, in my opinion. Obviously, goes without saying, I am not a financial advisor. I treat this purely as entertainment purposes only. Go away, do your own research before making any investment decisions, or better still, find a financial advisor. That isn't me. Investing in crypto is super risky, and you do risk losing all of your money, right? But I want to kind of take everybody on a journey so you can see what I'm doing, and I can give you my opinions, not financial advice, just my views on the market. So I want to just, cover that off before we get deep into what's going on. So Bitcoin, $105,000. I mean, when I bought Bitcoin, it was at $15,836. And, that's timestamped in the Discord. You can see me buying and all my thoughts on that. Members get to see all of the purchases that I am doing and all the sales as I'm doing them. But, would you have thought back then, just under $16,000, that when Bitcoin gets to $105,000, the market's going to feel this way? Let me know your thoughts on that in the comments below. We've got a lot of projects down over, 8%, over 6%, over 9% for SUI. So there's some great opportunities, obviously just my opinion, to be dollar cost averaging into the market. Now, if we go to the 24 hours and we have a look, projects down 15%. I mean, there's, some really interesting projects here. I've already got in mind what I want to do for today's video, but, I'm really looking for projects with great fundamentals, lots of, upgrades on the horizon that I think, do give us a maximum opportunity, right? So, you got your Artificial Super Intelligence Alliance. I've been buying up and scooping up some of that quite a lot. Again, I think that is, one of those projects. Near Protocol, again, another really good one. We haven't really got any exposure in the portfolio, and we'll come onto the portfolio in a moment. But again, I just think the tools there are really good. VeChain doing some great things. Aptos, everybody knows I love a bit of Aptos. Polygon Matic, I mean, we've taken such a hit in our portfolio on Polygon Matic. Maybe that's an opportunity to add some more. They're doing a bit of a pivot, which is really cool. But ultimately, I think there's one project that stands out the most to me. And, maybe XRP comes into that bracket, Solana as well, and a few others. But the one that really stands out to me is Cardano, ADA. And I'm going to come on to why in a moment, so stick about. Here's the portfolio, right? We got Chainlink, almost 13% of the portfolio. SUI, almost 11% of the portfolio. Artificial Super Intelligence, almost 10% of the portfolio. And you kind of get an idea of what's going on here. But there is something criminal about this crypto portfolio, and that is that Cardano ADA is less than 5% exposure in this portfolio. That needs to be much higher, in my opinion. I do think that it's going to come to light that they are probably the leaders when it comes to the tech under the hood. It might not be apparent to everybody right now, but I do think that that's going to become very apparent. Again, it's just my opinion. You can let me know if you agree, disagree, and why in the comments. But yeah, look, I just think that's criminal. I also think World Mobile is, criminally underexposed in this portfolio. People will call out BTC at 1.32% of the portfolio being, again, not having enough exposure. But I'm going to just be quite clear with everybody, around my thoughts for that. Bitcoin 105,000 doesn't present as much value upside, but more downside when it comes to making money in crypto, right? And I want to kind of come to the psychology of that as well, right? Because you got human psychology, in my opinion, that means that people that don't have $105,000, right, which is the most when it comes to retail, right? So retail investors, they're more likely to buy Cardano, Solana, Ethereum, because they can buy a whole Ethereum. They can buy multiple Cardano, multiple XRP, hundreds of thousands maybe of, something like VeChain that's like less than, 3 cent, 4 cent, right? Like psychology, for human nature is that they're going to do that more than they are going to, buy Bitcoin. But my point is, if you invest, say $105,000 in Bitcoin today, right, and buy 1 Bitcoin, for example, right, you're going to need that to go to $210,000 in order to double your money, right? But if you put that into Cardano, you just need that to go from, let's say, 62 cent to, $1.28, for example, right? Or 24, to double your money, right? And I think that's more realistic when you consider the roadmap and what's on the horizon. Obviously, it's just my opinion. You can, argue and discount my theory, but I think that there's going to be a lot more money flowing into altcoins than there will be Bitcoin in a bull run, particularly when we start to see, Bitcoin headlines, it's hit 200K or 150K, 300K. Let's say some of these other price predictions that some of these really big names have do come to fruition. I don't think they will. The 500K, the $1 million. I don't think these are going to come to fruition anytime soon, if at all, right? And if they do, you can imagine the headlines and the amount of money that's going to be flowing into altcoins that are more affordable for the everyday person, and they're not looking at tokenomics. So I just wanted to kind of get my views and opinions out. Obviously, it's not financial advice. Take it with a pinch of salt. And I'm interested to get your views and opinions. Join us in the free educational Discord to have more meaningful conversations. There's over 7,500 people supporting one another in the crypto space in the Discord. Great to immerse yourself in a fantastic community. So definitely worth doing, in my humble opinion. But look, why am I calling out Cardano as that project when you've got some other projects there with some fantastic fundamentals? Well, one of the reasons, obviously, price 64 cent at the moment seems like a really good opportunity to me, down 6.63% in the past 24 hours. But it's things like this. Hoskinson says midnight could be the biggest economic event in Cardano history. And I think that it could be history full stop, right? And that might seem like this crazy thought to have out there, right? And just to throw it out there, right? I mean, me and Nick and the team, we've discussed our thoughts on, the future of crypto, what crypto looks like in the future, right? And we called out AI back in 2020 as this massive sector. We also called out real world asset tokenization and stated that everything will be tokenized on the blockchain, right? We're talking about all the money, right? We've talked about these massive narratives and we're seeing them start to come to fruition, right? Particularly with AI. I mean, everybody can see the AI boom now, but could you see it back in 2019, 2020, like we did? Maybe not. But we were, singing off the rooftops about these opportunities as we saw them at the time, right? And time, that hasn't, aged like milk, right? Like it's aged like a fine wine. And, when I talk about, midnight potentially actually being one of the biggest economic shifts in history, full stop, it could very well be. Doesn't mean that it's going to be, but it could be. And that's something that I want to kind of illustrate to people as to why, right? I look at projects like Chainlink, right? And this is going to just give you, alpha, right? Chainlink is an Oracle provider. Smart contracts need oracles. You need on and off chain data. So without oracles for example, Chainlink, your smart contracts are rendered pretty much pointless compared to what is required of a smart contract. So, therefore, oracles are a must-have, not a nice-to-have. Now, I would say that makes Chainlink a must-have, not a nice-to-have. Now, don't get me wrong, there are other oracle providers, but Chainlink is the market leader. And to be honest, I don't see anybody catching them, right? Like, could age like milk, could be another fine wine prediction. But what I do want to kind of illustrate is Midnight, a compliant privacy layer, is the one thing that is missing in order to bring in real, tangible, real, trying to think, I lost my train of thought there, adoption, real world adoption, right? To bring in real world adoption, you need a compliant privacy layer. What do I mean by this? Well, if you want to bring banks, healthcare into the blockchain, everything at the moment is on a ledger, is public. You can see all that information. You're not going to want people seeing your bank details for your bank. If you're a business owner, you're not going to want people seeing who you're buying your produce from, and so on, and how much you're paying for it. You're not going to want your medical records public. So you need a compliant privacy layer which masks this private information that you don't want everybody seeing, but also able to unmask it, so you can let doctors, pharmacists, the government, the taxman to be able to see it. You might not want the taxman to see it, but you do need that compliant privacy layer. So for me, it's another must-have. Again, it doesn't mean that Midnight is going to be that project that does that and is the main one, but they are doing something that is required that many people have failed to do. And ultimately, I see this as a huge opportunity. The fact that they're airdropping, the tokens to, retail investors, again, it's just huge. Now, I heard on the grapevine, again, I'm going to take it with a pinch of salt. I wasn't there, so I didn't hear this firsthand. But within the next couple of months, we're likely to have the Midnight airdrop. Just going to put that out there. That's what I've heard. And I think that there's some really big events coming. So you can do with that what you will. Again, I don't know what impact this is going to have on the market. I don't know for sure that anything's even happening. But I'm going to hang my hat on that and hope that I'm right. But time will tell, right? So huge opportunities for me. I do think that Midnight is that really big catalyst potentially for Cardano, alongside other catalysts like access to Bitcoin DeFi, being able to have the most transactions per second, or at least be in line with the likes of Solana, some of the fastest chains out there. But I do think that Cardano is an elite project and is going to do really, really well. Time will tell whether I'm right to say all this stuff or whether I'm wrong, right? And that's why you've got to take everything I say with a pinch of salt, right? I want to be really clear. I'm not a financial advisor. So let's get to buying some Cardano ADA then, right? So we're going to go to trade. We're going to go to spot. We're going to type in ADA. We're going to go and find it paired with USDT. We've got USDT in the exchange already. Got $101. We always dollar cost average $100 minimum each week. We're going to go to market. We're going to buy 101.61 ADA. And we're going to click buy and confirm. There we go. If we go to order history, we can see that we've purchased 159.238 ADA. So we're going to copy that, go over to our portfolio. We're going to go to dashboard. We're going to add transaction. We're going to find ADA on the drop-down list. Click it. And the quantity that we purchased is 159. Sometimes it doesn't let me copy and paste it. 159,238.238. And we're going to click save. Okay, now if we go over to our analytics, we can now see that Cardano ADA is 6.97% of our portfolio now. That looks much, much better, and I feel much more comfortable about having that situated where it is. Now, I want to be clear with everybody. The portfolio is down quite a lot, right? And again, I'm not really too concerned, but I know that some of you may well be concerned. Over the whole time that we've been investing, it's at 35.6% down. So, we're down 941.36. Now, this would scare a lot of people. We're down on, the vast majority of projects apart from, Chainlink. But ultimately, I think that this will do a complete, 180 and will look very, very beautiful come the end of, or the peak of, the bull run. Time will tell, though, that this is the beautiful thing about investing. You can be down for, 365 days, going into maybe 400 days. And then, at the end of the 400 days, you could be $2, $3, $4, $5, even $10,000 in profit. These things in crypto, the market swings so much. It's so volatile. And that is why you do risk losing all of your money. I'm comfortable. I'm only dollar cost averaging $100 each and every week. I think the portfolio personally is a really solid portfolio. If we look at the analytics for it here, we go to portfolio health. It's not going to show up now. Performance. They've made this all cost now. That's frustrating. But the health of the portfolio, basically, it's a medium risk portfolio to low risk, right? There's not much high risk plays in here. They're top 100 projects, the vast majority, with the odd hint of something like World Mobile that's out of the top 50, top 100, for example. So great projects that I think are, I'm not concerned because I believe and I have conviction in these investments, right? I know what it is that I hold. And, I'm just waiting for everybody to catch up. That's kind of my thoughts and opinions on it. Whether I'm right or wrong is yet to be seen. I hope you enjoyed today's video. If you did, hit the like button, subscribe to the educational channel, and I will catch you in the next video.